So there have been some very interesting leaks from Twitch. Don't know who put them out, but as The Verge have reported, an anonymous poster on 4chan messaging board released 125 gigabytes of torrent that includes apparently the entirety of Twitch and its commit history. And they posted it specifically to foster more disruption and competition in the online video streaming space. So, Joker comes to life and decides he's going to start destroying Twitch. But the thing is, it's what's been revealed in this that is most fascinating and teaches us a great deal about internet communists, because we need to know more about them. So one of the leaks includes 3 years worth of details regarding creator payouts on Twitch. And this was eye-opening. So the leak is also labeled Part 1. So it doesn't include password or email addresses or anything like that. But that doesn't mean it wasn't obtained in the breach. It's just the person wasn't meaning to do that. That's not what they were doing. But we don't know that won't come either. But anyway, so let's have a look at the amounts paid out to the Twitch streamers themselves. I find this fascinating. Let's go to the next one. So the highest paid one is someone called Critical Role, who I've never heard of, getting nearly $10 million in 2 years. This is from August 2019 to October 2021. So $5 million a year. That's good earnings if you can get it. And if you go down, you can see a bunch of people that I've just never heard of until we get to number 13. Who's Hassan Abbey?
Hassan Piker.
That's right. That's
Cenk Uygur's nephew.
The famous internet communist who thinks that America deserved 9/11. He's getting almost $1.5 million directly from Twitch every single year. Very interesting. Now, this is not going to be the extent of his earnings. So it's estimated to be something like $200,000 a month. From Twitch alone, he's obviously going to have like merch sales, and he's got like 1 million followers on Twitter. He's got
200,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's been doing this for like 3 years.
Something like that. And he's got like 1 million followers on Twitter. He's got a merch line and Instagram and stuff like this. And he's also got 700,000 followers on YouTube, something like that. And so he's going to be getting another sort of 20, 30 grand. So he's probably looking at coming on $400,000 a month. So about 3 million a year, something like that, roughly. Nice work if you can get it. If you're an online communist.
That house is making more sense.
Yeah, it's making a lot more sense.
Actually, it makes less sense.
Well, actually, yeah, it's a rather modest house when you think about it. But the thing is, the point is he may well have just bought it outright. This $2.7 million home in Los Angeles with a pool that he...
Why would you need a mortgage?
Why would you need a mortgage? Yeah. You've probably just got Scrooge McDuck style, literally stacks of gold coins that you swim around in. Literally, in a giant vault.
His house is a year's salary, if that.
Yep.
Maybe half a year's if he's making more of that.
Yep. Which he quite well could be. Amazing.
Imagine buying a house for a year of your salary.
That's amazing for being a socialist. Now, what I love about this is literally just his entire job is being an online socialist for like 8 hours a day. Yeah. Just being a socialist online.
Comrades.
Yeah, and he's giving him money. And so all he sits there and does is whines about communism, whines about capitalism and promotes communism. But the thing is, Hassan doesn't know anything about communism, but we'll get to that in a bit. Because, of course, he spends all his time either whining about capitalism or playing video games while raking in stacks of cash. Because he really hates that capitalism. Really hates it.
So, I mean, the J-Reg meme, I don't know if you've seen it, the one where it's like, I'm an internet communist, support me on Patreon.
Yeah.
And then like 12 weeks later, he's got 52,000 backers or whatever, and he's got a monocle and everything. Yeah. I'm a libertarian.
Well, just wait.
We just have to wait for the I'm a libertarian moment from Hassan.
No, we've already reached it, but we'll get to by the end of this video. So obviously this caused quite some stir on the interwebs, and people who are defending Hassan, the socialists defending him, are like, oh yeah, well, I mean, socialism is when Hassan has no money. No, socialism is buying yourself $3 million mansion and sitting on a nice big pile of gold coins like Smaug. That's true socialism. Like Hassan's really living the socialist dream at the moment, while the workers are just sending them their money for some reason. But this is peak socialism. And so there were lots of people who were annoyed at Hassan Piker's hypocrisy. And here's an example of the next one, right? So this is just fine. Other millionaire streamers don't cry about wanting to eat the rich. The ones that do are called out, especially when they buy $1 million homes in rich neighborhoods. And that's them at the bottom of the pile because Hassan's 3 times higher up than that. And that's a fair point. That's exactly the reason. Like I, as a proud free enterpriser, I'm very impressed with Hassan's ingenuity, shall we say.
No one else on that list should feel at all upset.
They should be proud of their success.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I don't doubt that lots of people, it's the way the economy works. You buy something very expensive and lots of people benefit from that because lots of people's labor goes into making something that's very expensive. It's how the economy works. So Hassan's doing his part for capitalism. As a capitalist, I support this. I mean, you get other people saying, well, look, he's making $200,000 a month from Twitch alone, probably close to $400,000 a month, and he's just like the common man, because that's another point. You can see in Hassan's streams that he dresses like a hobo, and he's in a very tiny room, and it's an aesthetic. He's trying to make it look like he isn't part of the 0.1%.
Also, the endless talk, as if they are like the endless talking point among socialists, not just him, but a lot of others. Like, did you know there are people working 2-3 jobs just to get by in this country? And he sits there, some more chips.
Yeah.
$3,000 goes into his bank account.
Literally chicken nuggies that his mum makes.
It's also factually inaccurate for the case of just if you look at the statistics.
That is true, yeah.
People working 2 jobs is going down.
Yeah, and it's only something like 4% of the American population anyway.
Yeah, but
so it's a really small number. But anyway,
back to Hassan.
He points out that this person points out that this is literally more than the average NFL player in 2 months. And then LARPs is a common poor man struggling to get by and you eat it up. So yeah, that's exactly why people are annoyed at Hassan. It's not that there's anything wrong with him making money. There are, of course, many reasons not to be a socialist, but, people are, and there's no point. It's like saying, it's bad religion. Sure it is, but lots of people do it. But it's being the monumental hypocrite, benefiting maximally from capitalism while claiming to be a socialist and saying, eat the rich. You could just, donate some of your money, couldn't you, Hassan? But people start running to his defense because they love Hassan. Hassan's a very popular guy. Oh, the problem is the millionaires, not the billionaires, stuff like this. And Hassan becomes a trending topic because this is just such glaring hypocrisy. You can't get away from this. This is your raison d'etre, is to complain about the wealthy, Hassan, and how they're hoarding their money, Hassan, as you're incredibly wealthy and hoard your money. I mean, did you think people weren't going to be pissed off about it? Like, what's your cope?
Also, that sentence there, it's the billionaires, not the millionaires.
Yeah.
This is usually in response to when a socialist gets their first million. Sorry, like, how many more millions do you have to make before we start being like...
When you're on your 6th or 7th million, does it still...
100th?
Yeah. It's only when you get a billion. And when you do get a billion, Hassan, and God willing, you'll become a billionaire from this, what then? What are you going to do? You can just be like, well, get my monocle. So people are like, okay, well, why not donate money, Hassan? This is a great question. If you want to tax the rich so bad, why don't you just donate some of your money to the government? Say 50% of everything you make over 400,000. Great question. I'm sure the government's not going to be like, oh no, free money.
No, they take checks.
Of course they do.
They'll take Hassan's checks too.
Of course. But for some reason he doesn't.
Yeah. Or if he thinks
weird.
The government is like far right or something, he could just give it to charities to
well, he
instead.
encouraged everyone to vote for for Joe Biden. So, he's got the president he wants. He could be donating. I mean, you got to tax the rich. You could voluntarily tax yourself, Hassan.
Also, does anyone need more than several $1 million, Hassan?
Does anyone need more than 400,000, Hassan? Is that really your mansion?
Well?
Yeah. Or is that the people's mansion, Hassan? And isn't profit theft, Hassan? It seems like you're profiting richly.
Only 400,000 a month. How will he survive?
Exactly. I mean, like if profit is theft, Hassan, you're stealing from a lot of people, mate. And I mean, you do think that because you've said it to me personally. So what now? What now? Anyway, so why not donate the money? Who knows? But yes, as we see with the Bernie Sanders defense, we're talking about millionaires, not billionaires, because now I'm a millionaire and I don't want to be criticized because that's how the goalposts move. Again, hope you get your billion out of that, Hassan. But and then you carry on with the accidentally based takes. I particularly like this one. Socialism is when you're poor, lol.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, actually.
It's when everyone's poor and eating their children and the dictator lives and eats meat.
Yes, and that's why Hassan Piker is a capitalist and not a socialist, and he's a total and abject hypocrite. But someone else points out, well, socialism is when you're the 0.01%. Kind of. Everyone else is poor. The dictator is in the 0.001% and his family, and that is socialism. That's right.
I'm trying to think, because a lot of socialist dictators were very rich, but I don't actually know. I think there might have been a couple that were less rich than Hassan. Like, how much money did Pol Pot have, for example?
Good point.
Like, Pol Pot would have had less than Hassan Piker, surely.
I mean, we know Castro had 900 million, so he's not as rich as Castro.
No.
And he's not going to be as rich as Stalin or anything, but
Pol Pot didn't have much of an economy, so
Yeah, exactly. Cambodia is a small place.
Pol Pot net worth.
There's probably some Latin American dictators who have got less money as well. But Hassan's pretty much up there.
There we go. Apparently, Pol Pot's net worth at peak was $10 million.
So Hassan is actually probably richer than Pol Pot was.
Yeah.
Good job, Hassan. Peak socialism. And so it was left to Hassan's old buddy and capitalist, Destiny, who was on the list getting about $10,000 a month, which is respectable. I think it was very good. Well done, Destiny. Saying, "Goddamn, it's hilarious watching the socialist aesthetic get rich and then desperately trying to explain why they should live the exact same life as the most greedy capitalist possible." Love it. Love everything about this. Exactly. It's the socialist aesthetic, like, as worn by the Wolf of Wall Street. You know, it is the most greedy perspective. Capitalism always wins. It is just the state of nature. And so people are like, well, what do you want them to do? And someone was just like, well, literally anything but hoard their wealth. Why should they be allowed to shit S on the greediest of capitalists, but then do exactly the same thing? Take it a step further. Why must they come up with every excuse in the book to explain their hoarding, but not a capitalist doing it? Exactly. Because any capitalist, Smaug the dragon, could give Hassan's excuse as to why it's okay that he sits on a big pile of gold, if Hassan can do it.
But Smaug's actually got a good reason. It's just, I like it, get lost.
Yeah, but that's essentially what it's going to come down to for Hassan.
Yeah.
And you've got people pointing out, well, hang on a second, socialism isn't just an economic system, it's a moral system. So if you claim to be a socialist, and it is, if you claim to be a socialist and you're hoarding wealth like a Tolkien-esque dragon, then you're not being a very moral person by your own standards. Now, I'm sure that Hassan Piker dries his tears with $100 bills and then throws them in the fire, just like the aristocrat that he is over this. But it just goes to show that this is a grift. It's all about the money. And so Hassan starts copying mad heat over this. And of course, he starts going, oh, it's people who care that Twitch streamers make money. Nope. No one else cares about any of the other Twitch streamers making money because they deserve to make money, just like you deserve to make money.
Yeah, I saw some names in there that I recognized. So I think it was Asimov and Monster Critical or whatever,
Yep.
the guys who hosted the debate you had with Hassan.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one cares about them making money.
Oh, they should.
They're good guys.
I'm glad they do. And I'm glad that you do as well, Hassan. In fact, I'm glad that you make more combined than like the most famous Twitch thoughts going. It really makes me, it gives me a sense of hope and optimism for the future that the thoughts are lower down on the list than just a lazy chud pretending to be a communist on Twitch. I think that's fantastic, right? But the point is, you're clearly not mad about this, and this is Hassan's justification from his stream as to why one can be a very wealthy socialist on Twitch and have no moral problems with it. Let's play the clip.
Like, socialism is literally about getting paid more. If there's any way to like reduce Marxist principles to a singular fucking statement in the most reductive way possible, socialism unironically is about making sure that you make more money.
There we go. The Gordon Gekko theory of socialism. Das Kapital is written by the Wolf of Wall Street. Socialism is about making more money. Greed is good, say the socialists. I love this so much. It's like a hyper-capitalist Wall Street take.
Like, even at the most steelest of steelman positions, it still makes no sense.
I know.
It's just like, you could argue, I don't know, like, socialism is when the individuals and the collective all make more money as overall. It's like, yeah, but Hassan, they aren't. You are.
Yeah.
You're the only one in this collective of all these simps for Marx who's making dragon levels wealth. And what are your simps doing? Well, they're all transferring their wealth to you.
And what do they do in their daily lives? They work in their office jobs or their chud jobs, you know, boring, terrible jobs that you say all amount of profit that comes from them is theft. And therefore you're stealing or you're getting donations from people who you consider to be existing in a state of oppression, who are being stolen from on a day-to-day basis. And you're living like Scrooge McDuck out of it and screeching like Gordon Gekko that greed is good. Unbelievable.
That's
Hassan.
real socialism right there.
That is the most socialism. It also happens to look identical to hyper-capitalism. I love everything about this.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can catch the full podcast at 1 p.m. every weekday UK time at lotuseaters.com. You can also sign up at lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, that's how we keep this whole operation running. And recently we've put up loads of great stuff, such as this interview with legendary comedian Steve Hughes, one of my personal favourite comedians, so it was a real honour to be able to meet him. But one thing that I didn't expect, that he would be such a deep thinker, and this podcast is genuinely like a meeting of minds in a way. He was right on my wavelength on a bunch of things and helped me actually connect a bunch of dots, but I'm not going to carry on and spoil it. We also, of course, have lots of interesting articles that have been written, such as this one by Josh about the dumbest country on earth. And for for silver tier subscribers, we also include a link, so it's we have an audio reading of it from a chap called Jonathan, who has a very smooth voice that you will enjoy. And this is great because often I don't have time to read all of the articles we put up, because we've put up a lot of regular content. And so this saves me the hassle of having to read it myself. So I really actually am very appreciative of this feature on a personal level. But we also do the Contemplations and Epochs, which are just interesting podcasts about interesting things. These are regular weekly podcasts. So this one is one of our writers, Josh, he's got a master's degree in psychology, talking about theories of intelligence and how they matter. And of course, we've got the Epochs, where myself and Bo, or in this case it was Josh and Bo, talking about the life of Sir Francis Drake. So that's 2 solid hours talking about England's most notorious adventurer. But we've also got lots and lots of other ones. This is number 21, so there's a good back catalogue there. And finally, we have our book clubs, and this is the part that I'm most proud of. Recently, we've done Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell, and
Reflections on a Ravaged Century by Robert Conquest.
Yeah, Robert Conquest is fantastic. Just if you want Western chauvinist historian, he's your man.
Anti-socialism.
Yes, in all forms, it's fantastic. And like I said, that's what keeps the podcast running. So if you want to become a member, thank you very much, and we think there's some great stuff you'll enjoy.